नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। श्रीमद् भागवतम Canto 2 Chapter 1 Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 Chapter 1 Verse 18 नियच्छेद विषयेभ्यो अक्षान् मनसा बुद्धि सारथि मन कर्मभिराक्षिप्तं शुभार्थे धारयेत् धिया नियच्छेद विषयेभ्यो अक्षान् मनसा बुद्धि सारथि मन कर्मभिराक्षिप्तं शुभार्थे धारयेत् धिया नियच्छेद विषयेभ्यो अक्षान् मनसा बुद्धि सारथि मन कर्मभिराक्षिप्तं शुभार्थे धारयेत् धिया. Translation purport by Stephen Giri Sabai Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Synonyms: Niyachet, withdraw. Vishayebhya, from sense engagements. Akshan, the senses. Manasa, by dint of the mind. Buddhi, intelligence. Sarathi, driver. Mana, the mind. Karma, be by the fruity work. Akshiptam, being absorbed in. Shubha Arte, for the sake of the Lord. Aharayet, hold up. Diya, in full consciousness. Translation: gradually, as the mind becomes progressively spiritualized, withdraw it from sense activities, and by intelligence, the senses will be controlled. The mind, too, absorbed in material activities, can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in full transcendental consciousness. Purport: the first process of spiritualizing the mind by mechanical chanting of the pranava omkara and by control of the breathing system is technically called the mystic or yoga process of pranayama, or fully controlling the breathing air. The ultimate state of this pranayama system is to be fixed in trance, technically called samadhi. But experience has proven that even the samadhi stage also fails to control the materially absorbed mind. For example, the great mystic Vishwamitra Muni, even in the stage of a samadhi, became a victim of the senses and cohabited with the Menaka. Miss history was already recorded this. The mind, although ceasing to think of sensual activities at present, remembers past sensual activities from the subconsciousness status and thus disturbs one from 10% engagement in self-realization. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami recommends the next step of assured policy, namely to fix one's mind in the service of the personality of Godhead. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also recommends this direct process in the Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Thus, the mind being spiritually cleansed, one should at once engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord by the different devotional activities of hearing, chanting, etc. If performed under proper guidance, that is the surest path of progress, even for the disturbed mind. हरि ओम तत्सत् नम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Mukam karo Divachalam Pangun Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamham Mande Sri Gurum Dinatharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyamishwaram नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमो आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपप्रधायिने गौरकथाधामधाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे हरिहराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः हरि गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदनाम मुखम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दिनतारिणं श्री परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरम हरि ओम तत्सत. So, these are very beautiful words. जो Sukadeva Goswami is trying to teach different levels from Sankhya Yoga, how one should, ultimately join the pure unalloyed loving devotion service in the association of the devotees. For that, how to isolate oneself and how to start pranayama and all those aspects. It is not that Sukadeva Goswami is asking Parikshit Maharaj to do that. Just like Lord Sri Krishna was asking Arjuna, he didn't ask him to do that. He said these are all different processes and Bhakti Yoga is the best. Same thing Sukadeva Goswami is also teaching here, and in the purport Prabhupada is clarifying everything. So Prabhupada said that the first process of spiritualizing the mind by mechanical chanting of the Pranava Omkara mantra and the breathing system is technically called the mystic or yogic mystic of pranayama. So in this way it begins, and he is quoting that the ultimate objective, which is a direct process, and that is already recommended in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, right? So in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, what is recommended? In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 47, if you see, योगिनाम अपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेन अंतरात्मना श्रद्धावान भजते यो मां समे युक्त तमो मतः. So this is actually the conclusion of the yoga system, because at the end of first 6 chapters, Krishna is concluding the yoga system. In the 6th chapter, he has explained the Sankhya Yoga system, and the concluding portion of the Sankhya Yoga system is this sloka, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nandratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomata. So this is the conclusion. Generally, they are attracted to the yoga system. So the yoga system means always thinking of Krishna. That is samadhi, actually. And 5,000 years ago, when this yoga system was discussed between Krishna and Arjuna, Arjuna frankly admitted that this system was very difficult. If 5,000 years ago, for personality like Arjuna, if it was difficult, What to speak of anybody in Kali Yuga and what to speak of us? So Arjuna frankly admitted at that time itself, he thought himself as a grahastha and a military man. So concentration of the mind and sitting in a posture and looking on the point of the nose, so many systems, find out a secluded place alone and observing so many rules, regulations, asana, dhyana, dharana, pranayama. So he thought it's very difficult for him. Therefore, Krishna, in order to encourage him, that although he could not practice the Ashtanga Yoga system, still there was no cause of disappointment. So he concluded. How he concluded? तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्यो अपिमथो अधिक कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्मात् योगी भव Arjuna. Very beautifully insisted. He insisted. And then only he says yoginam api sarvesham. Just try to understand. He is telling that a yogi is greater than an ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitivork. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a bhakti yogi. So that is his point of telling. So that's the conclusion of all yogis. Who is always thinking of me? Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. Shraddhavan. Shraddha is the beginning of everything. Shraddha dhanasya mutayo. Adau Shraddha. Bhakti's first step. Adau Shraddha. Shraddhavan is the first bhakti step. So, the faith, Shraddha, respect. If you have no respect for Krishna, if you have no faith in Krishna, there is no advancement of spiritual life or yoga life. Therefore, it is said Shraddhavan, Adau Shraddha. So, the beginning of the spiritual life is Shraddha. Adau Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha. First of all, faith. And faith has been described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Faith means Vishwasa. So, he explains Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa, Shudrada Nishchaya, Sudrada Nishchaya, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritakaya. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can see. So this is Shraddha. Shraddha means firm faith. As Krishna says, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So unless one has got faith, why one should consider himself that I must completely surrender to Krishna? Unless one has got faith, therefore faith is the beginning. And to create faith, Krishna has explained about himself in the whole Bhagavad Gita. So one who is fortunate after reading Bhagavad Gita thoroughly, he will have strong faith in Krishna. And if you have failed to achieve this status of faith, then there is no question of progress. That's what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is trying to explain in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrada Nishchaya. Shraddha means firm faith with conviction. Yes, if I surrender to Krishna, then all my business will be perfect. All my spiritual life will be perfect. Therefore, Krishna says, Shraddhavan bhajate. Shraddha with full faith, Adau Shraddha. Beginning is Shraddha. If one has developed a little Shraddha, that is a chance given to the whole world by ISKCON movement today. This propaganda, opening different centers and temples to create little Shraddha. And if the Shraddha is there, the next stage is Sadhu Sangha. And if one wants to become Krishna conscious, if he has developed a little faith in it, the next stage is to associate with Sadhu. And who is Sadhu? Sadhu. Sadhava, Sadhu Bhushana, Titikshava, Karunika, Sukhruda, Sarva Bhuthanam. So Sadhu means very tolerant. In another place, Sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita, Bhajate Mamananya Bhak, Sadhur Eva Samanyant Mantavya. So we need to understand from different perspective that the ultimate objective is not sitting and meditating and pressing the nose. The ultimate objective is engaging in the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, the Adokshaja, with all our transcendental purified senses. Hrishikena Shevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So that is called devotional service. So that is called Samadhi. Samadhi is not sitting and closing eyes. Samadhi is acting in Krishna consciousness is called Samadhi in such a way that He is not perturbed, he is not disturbed. Okay, that is called samadhi. So, for that, you need not isolated place, but sadhu sangha. Real sadhu means real devotee, unadulterated devotee. Anya vilasita sonyam, jnana karmadi anavritam. So then the recommendation is that simply by associating with such sadhu, all perfection will come. Sadhu sangha, sarva shastra kaya, lavamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoya. So this is very practical. So after Shraddha, we have to have Sadhu Sangha. Ado Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, Atabhajana Kriya, Tato Anartha Nivritti Syat, Tato Nishta, Tato Ruchis, Tata Ata Shaktis, Tato Bhava. So in this way, there are the steps, bhakti steps. Krama means one after another. So this Krishna consciousness movement is enacted just to create little faith in Krishna. Then the person whom we are trying to help, his business is to associate with sadhu. Satham prasangan mama vidya samvidho krita karna rasayana katha. Rasayana katha. Discuss Krishna consciousness. Bodhayanta parasparam, tushyanti, charamanti, everywhere the same thing. So, Shraddha is basically required, and then comes Sadhu Sangha, and then comes Bhajana Kriya. And if one is seriously associating with the Sadhu, then the next stage automatically is Bhajana Kriya, how to worship. Bhajana Kriya, Tata Anartha Nivritisya, then Anartha. Anartha means unnecessary things. We have practiced so many unnecessary things in our life. That unnecessary things, they are too much strong that they become sinful life. Unnecessary. The modern civilization is simply meant for creating unnecessary necessities in life. That's all. So we are becoming deviated from God. The more we are advancing in so-called material civilization, we are more becoming far away from God. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Jhada Vidya Yatha Mayara Vaibhava Tomara Bhajane Badha Jhada Vidya. Jhada Vidya means the material education. They are simply paraphernalia of this illusory energy, Mayara Vaibhava. And the effect of this advancement of material cultivation, civilization means stopping one's relationship with God. Just see. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a great responsible government officer, magistrate, but also is a great devotee of the Lord Krishna. He is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the Guru of Srila Prabhupada, and his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and is one of the acharyas in our parampara, is in the altar. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes about his own experience that Jada Vidya Yatha Mayara Vaibhava Tomara Bhajane Badha. The more we make advancement in the temporary materialistic comfort, the more we become implicated in unnecessary things, and they are all impediments for making progress in spiritual life. That is his opinion. And that's a fact. We have seen in Western countries, they are still more materially advanced, but spiritually they are dull. Blockheaded spiritually. So very difficult to convince them spiritually. Sadhu Sangha, by association of the Sadhu, one can achieve advancement in spiritual life. And in all Shastras, it is recommended that association. So in this way, not that isolated go and press nose and sit. Okay, but here exactly Sukadeva Goswami is teaching to Parishit Maharaj the way Arjuna was taught by Lord Sri Krishna. So we'll go to the next verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, verse 19. Tatraikavayavam jayet avyuchinnena chetasa mano nirvishayam yuktva tatha kinchana nasmaret padam tat paramam vishnor mano yatra prasidati. Tatraikavayavam dayet avyuchinnena chetasa mano nirvishayam yuktva tata kinchana smaret padam tat paramam vishnor mano yatra prasidati. Tatraikavayavam tyayet avyuchinnena chetasa mano nirvishayam yuktva tata kinchana na smaret padam tat paramam vishnor mano yatra prasidati. Synonyms. Tatra, thereafter, eka, one by one, avayavam, limbs of the body, dhyayet, should be concentrated upon, avyuchinnena, without being deviated from the complete form, chetasa, by the mind, mana, mind, nirvishayam, without being contaminated by sense objects, yuktva, being dovetailed, tatha, thereafter that, kinchana, anything, na, do not, smaret, think of, padam, personally, tat, that, Paramam, Supreme, Vishnu of Vishnu, Mana, the mind, Yatra, whereupon, Prasidati becomes a reconciled translation. Thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu, one after another, without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus, the mind becomes free from all sense subjects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon, because the Supreme Personality of God and Vishnu is the ultimate truth. The mind becomes completely reconciled in him only. Purport. Foolish persons bewildered by the external energy of Vishnu do not know that the ultimate goal of progressive search after happiness is to get in touch with directly with Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Let's see. And the supreme or original form of Vishnu Tattva is Govinda or Lord Krishna. The supreme cause of all causes. Therefore, thinking of Vishnu or meditating upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, specifically upon Lord Krishna, is the last word on the subject of meditation. This meditation may be begun from the lowest feet of the Lord. One should not, however, forget or be misled from the complete form of the Lord. Thus, one should practice thinking of the different parts of his transcendental body one after another. Here in this verse, it is definitely assured that the Supreme Lord is not impersonal. He is a person, but his body is different from those of conditioned persons like us. Otherwise, meditation beginning from the Pranava Omkara to the limbs of the personal body of Vishnu would not have been recommended by Sukadeva Goswami for the attainment of complete spiritual perfection. The Vishnu forms of worship in great temples of India are not therefore arrangements of idol worship as they are wrongly interpreted to be a class of men with a poor fund of knowledge. Rather, they are different spiritual centers of meditation on the transcendental limbs of the body of Vishnu. The worshipable deity in the temple of Vishnu is identical with the Lord Vishnu by the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Therefore, a neophyte's concentration or meditation upon the limbs of Vishnu in the temple, as contemplated in the revealed scriptures, as an easy opportunity for meditation for persons who are unable to sit down tightly at one place and then concentrate upon Pranava Omkara or the limbs of the body of Vishnu. As recommended herein by Sukadeva Goswami, the great authority, the common man can benefit more by meditating on the form of Vishnu in the temple than on the Omkara. The spiritual combination of A-U-M, Aum, is explained before. There is no difference between the Omkara and the forms of Vishnu, but persons unacquainted with the science of absolute truth try to create dissensions by differentiating between the forms of Vishnu and that of Omkara. Here it is indicated that the Vishnu form is the ultimate goal of meditation, and as such it is better to concentrate upon the forms of Vishnu than on impersonal Omkara. The later process is also more difficult than the former one. So, Hari Om Tat Sat. So here we understand from the purport of Srila Prabhupada that nobody knows that how to get happiness. After searching for the happiness, eternal happiness, if you really want to achieve either through jnana, karma, or ashtanga yoga, then your attempt will be baffled because it's not possible by those processes. However, if you make your attempt, then Krishna is very merciful and he may give you an association of a pure devotee who is in the samadhi. means who is performing pure unalloyed loving devotional service to Krishna all the time. Materially, both day and night, 24 hours a day. Like that, he is eternally serving Lord Krishna in Anandamayo Abhyasat stage. He need not do anything else. So this is just the process as shown in the purport. And Vishnu Tattva is unlimited expansion of different transcendental forms of the personality of Godhead. So those yogis who is trying to meditate upon the Aum, that's impossible because they're not seeing any person to meditate upon. How can you meditate on sound? You need all the indriyas to be engaged. That is meditation, and mind has to be engaged. If the mind has to engage fully, then you can only engage all the senses on that. And mind can only be engaged when you see a form. Mind is very agitated by forms only. So mind has to get the form in a fixed way. It agitates on the form because it takes temporary forms. It sees temporary forms. It experiences temporary forms. But the same mind, if it is going to experience the form of the supreme, form of Lord Vishnu, then the mind will not agitate at all. So this is the best way of controlling your mind. So that is mentioned here. So that is in the purport that you get. So always Prabhupada is recommending better than Omkara or any sound vibration. It is better to see the form of the Lord. So it is always better for a devotee, even a neophyte who goes to the temple and try to see the form of the Lord. That's a better meditation, starting from the lotus feet towards face. When you watch or monitor or see the Lord in the altar, in the Vigraha hall of the temple or house. So that is really more, what I can say, samadhi, comparing to a particular yogi who is trying to meditate on the sound vibration of. So, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, of course, you can have the form of the Lord in that, because Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not different from the Supreme. Nama, Nama, Bhagavata. Sorry, what is that? Abhinatva Namanamina. There is no difference between the form Krishna and the name Krishna. So this is told by Srila Namacharya. So when you have such a wonderful thing already available here, not your way, it is just arrived also, then what is the difficulty? So we have to meditate on the form of the Mam Anusmaran Yacha, Krishna says. So you have to always think of me in this form as Krishna, that Krishna himself is telling. So how to meditate, how to think of Krishna all the time in the Kali Yuga is by always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is called mantra meditation. So all the time you can always think of Krishna. How to always think of Krishna is simply by chanting Krishna's holy name. So always chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra whenever you are working and whenever you are not working, whenever you are sleeping or when you are not sleeping, when you are chanting and when you are not chanting, you chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So all the time you have to keep chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is called meditation and that is called Samadhi. So you have already attained Samadhi. You don't need to press your nose. You don't need to do your pranayama and other practices. You already got Krishna. Thank you very much. So we'll resume our class tomorrow morning sharp at 8 o'clock from the next verse 2.1.20 onwards. Till then, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vaishnav Pranam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Sri Guru Maharaj ki jai. Jai Gar Premanande Hari Hari Hari.